Hi, everybody. Ron Mata with our excellent show tonight on Activate Worcester. And a lot going on in our lives, a lot going on tonight as well. And if anytime you turn on the news these days, it's like, wow, it's just unreal. Well, one of the things we decided to do for tonight's show, we're reprising a guest that we had on several months ago. And we had a lot of good positive response from his joining us. And basically, the kind of input was the man is articulate, he makes sense, he's not pushing a particular philosophy. He's an interesting man, and he is. And we're bringing him back alive. And this is our friend Ted Costas. Ted, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
Believe me, it's our pleasure.
And mine as well.
By definition, this is a man who's got a life story that he could take not one, not two, but three episodes going over. Fascinating guy. But currently, among other things, he is really the treasurer, the acting treasurer of the Worcester County Republican Committee. And we've seen that group go from, as I remember, a couple of years ago, there were about 5 people that would attend one of these meetings. And to put it in perspective, in the quote-unquote good old days, like 15, 20, 25 years ago, you'd have between 100 and 150 people that would show up at one of these meetings. And that's healthy for everybody, because when anything becomes a one-trick pony, which is what we really have, we have a one-party city, it's really not healthy. And it's healthy when you have 2 or more viewpoints, because then you can use your brain power to do some analysis to see exactly what's going on and to come out with a conclusion that you're comfortable with. And little by little by little, the committee has been growing, and I'm part of it, and obviously Ted is. And don't be scared by the label Republican. And I understand that in this city, roughly 11%, which basically means 1 out of 9 registered voters, are listed as Republicans. And you might say, well, oh boy, that means what, 91% are Democrats, or whatever that 89% is. No, not quite. Roughly 32 or 33% of the balance of the voters are registered Democrats, which means the balance of which, undetermined or undecided, that's the biggest political party in this city. And I think that that's great, because this gives people an opportunity not to vote blindly for the same old people or the same mentality. And to me, that's when things can change, and change from a positive perspective. So that's my preamble to this thing tonight. But Ted, you've been in the middle with this committee for several years now, and you've seen it grow. You've got 30, 40, 50 people that are showing up. And there's a very, very strong feeling of getting things done. That was the perception that I have.
Exactly, Ron.
Pardon me.
We have grown, I want to say, we do have 80 registered. Now, it's difficult sometimes to get most people to get to a meeting, but we do get maybe at least 30, 40, as you said. Mm-hmm. I've seen that in the last 3 years where it's grown from, as you said earlier, a small amount of people, a handful for that matter. We've taken a different stand, I think, than lately. Current events, of course, dictate of what we need to do as a committee here in Worcester and statewide, of course. So we've been out and about. You mentioned about undeclared, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've noticed that I've been out for the last few weeks, of course, collecting signatures to get several people on the ballot for the fall, the primary. And I've ran into so many independents that, I call them independents, but here in Worcester they call them declared, I guess, in Massachusetts, who amazed me. They really have, because, you're just listening to them and saying, what's happening today? They just want to get involved. They're not ready to turn yet to a dedicated party, of course, and I think they're fine just where they are. So we're trying to work with that. Another few things that we're doing is that we have something planned in July. We're working on a job fair, and we've already taken the Worcester Common on July 16th, and we have several venues coming in looking for help, and we are going to also have a box of charitable clothing that people are donating for those that might be homeless in the area. So we want to try to help them, and we'll see what goes on with that. But we really, there's a lot of companies out here that really need the help, and if we can help them, find someone to fill a slot that they need, that's what we're working on next, among other things. And we all know it's election season, so that's important. Everyone's been working hard in that, and we'd like to see some of our candidates come in and go from there. Mm-hmm. But we're keeping busy. We've changed the tone a little bit. We're getting more involved than before. Years ago, it was mostly, a lot of it was just, talk. There were things done, of course, but I think we're getting into a broader scope today. Things have changed overall, so we're trying to get involved where we can get everything or every person a hand. It's not just all politics. We are compassionate people. We're not labeled just because we're Republicans. Oh God, I hear it all the time. But come and visit us. Come to one of our meetings. Listen to what we have to say and what we want to do, and we'll go from there.
One of the interesting things that the committee is doing, as you know, this is a city that politically is in real transition right now. Mm. The school committee, it's not the same old, where you've got X number of people, and the same ones keep getting reelected. And of course, there's been a premise for a long time that different folks were underrepresented and so on and so forth. Well, the way around that is to get on the ballot and get folks involved and so on and so forth. Because that never seems to happen, what they've decided to do is do a lot of redistricting, mm-hmm. so that there'd be a city councilor that would pretty much be involved with somebody from the school committee. Right. That would parallel, if you will. And I think that's going to be a little clumsy getting that program initiated, but that's one of the things that they're doing. But beyond that, and obviously there's the CRT, there were many, many issues with the school. You know it. I mean, if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. Lots and lots of issues, to the point that you're almost drowning in these things. So one of the things that I know that the group does, tell them about the coffee club, the Saturday morning coffee club.
We have a group of people on Saturday mornings that meet virtually. And when they do, they wait. Friday evening, I should say, the city council agenda comes out. And it's taken on a Saturday morning with a bunch of people just going over the agenda, seeing what is relevant to the people of the city of Worcester. And, basically concerns. There might be some items on the agenda that might, need addressing to, and we want to either support it or voice our opinion against it. So they meet every Saturday, 9 o'clock, and they'll discuss how we can either help with what's going on, that certain item, whether we should be a little more, I can't say the word negative, but at least voice an opinion. That's something that we might not even have to do. The city council, of course, is like any other city. They have their good points, their bad points, but at least we're getting involved so that we can voice an opinion to the city council on Tuesday evenings. So we're prepared to do that through discussion with with the members that meet in the coffee club. It's been effective. You know, we'll get online, whether virtually or now we can go in person and voice our opinion as a group or as an individual. You know, someone may not agree with, you know, we're all not perfect, but there'll be some agreement, there'll be some disagreement. So, but at least we're unified at one point to say, okay, how is this going to affect the city and its residents? And we get involved. I think everybody should be doing that. It's hard. We all have our schedules, but we designate that time every Saturday morning. And it's a difficult time on a weekend. You know, people have things to do, especially now with the warmer weather coming, vacations and so forth, but we're still maintaining it. So I think we're doing pretty well with that.
One of the reasons I think that, obviously, it's representative government, it's people reaching out, responding to things rather than reacting to them, responding up front, providing their input before it becomes a runaway train that's going to come right over you. But over the years, I've had conversation with a number of city councilors and so on and so forth, people on school committee, and the common thread across the board is they really don't hear from their constituents all that often. What happens is they'll hear from certain people all the time.
Right.
Then they'll hear from folks who have a specific agenda, Coe's Pond or whatever it is, and they're focusing strictly on that, but that's about it. And the point being that if they don't hear from their constituents, they vote what they think is right or what they're told to think is right, and life goes on.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons a lot of people have just given up on politics, and they'll feel that we really have little or nothing to contribute, and why vote and why be involved in the whole process? You know, the whole thing is stacked. We're trying to unstack it.
Exactly. Exactly. If you don't get involved, as you said, your opinion does count. It is important. You are a taxpayer, and you have that right. And there's nothing wrong with it. It only takes a little time out of your schedule to get involved. And if you don't get involved, and then something does occur, and you're not happy with it, well, who do you have to blame after that? Basically yourselves, because you just didn't get involved. You can't blame anyone. This is your city. You have every right to voice your opinion, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. There are no rights and there are no wrongs. It's what's in your hearts that you should be talking to the city council. And whether it's in person, as I said, or virtually, you'll get that turn. You can still even do it by phone. But people need to get involved. And this is what we're doing as a committee here in the city. It's a lot of work, you know.
Well, you know, the thing of it is,
commitment.
it's the taxpayers' dollars that are funding this city.
Exactly.
So it's like buying stock. You know, you're buying stock every month when you send your tax payments in. So if you own stock in company X and you didn't like the way they were running the ship, what would you do? Well, in that case, you can sell your stock and get out of Dodge. It's not so easy to get out of Worcester, if you will.
No.
And I don't mean that literally. But what you really need to do is to kind of hang in there and see what's going on. And my point is this. Many people figure that, oh, I've done my patriotic duty. How so? Oh, I vote every year. Well, ain't you great? Wonderful. You vote blind. First of all, how aware were you before you voted of the positions that these people were in on different subjects? And an adjunct to that is, how prepared were you to make that vote? In other words, when you took a look at the particular items that they were presenting, did you really do your own analysis to see where you were, and then compare that with these candidates, and then support the candidate that's closely aligned with where you're coming from? But still, you still wouldn't be done. What you really have to do is, after the election, let's say the election is November 5th or whatever, November 6th on, you should be checking the papers every day to see what's going on, who's voting, what subjects are up, and so on and so forth, and be a concerned citizen and get on the phone with these people, or shoot them a text, an email, however you want to communicate. Send them a letter, but let them know how you think that this is great or terrible or whatever. If not, you've basically lost your charter. You've lost your position. You have to be proactive, and if not, they're going to roll right over you. You're going to be paying a bill for getting nothing in return, and that's strictly up to you. And that, to some degree, is the concept behind this coffee club thing of, first of all, let's see what they are posting for next week's meeting, and now let's review it, let's see how we feel about it, and let's voice our concerns or our support, either one. Nothing wrong with that. It's a positive way to look at things. Speaking of different things that are coming up, tell them about the citizenship classes.
Oh, we've partnered with the Central Mass Patriots to offer free U.S. citizenship classes beginning this summer. It'll include textbooks. It'll be a classroom. We haven't determined the location as of yet, but it will happen. We'll make an announcement with all the details, and we're thankful that the Central Mass Patriots is taking on that task, and I think it'll be fantastic for a lot of the people that live in the city who want to become U.S. citizens, but maybe some of them just don't know how. They can get some of this information, and they can take the classes. We'll help them, and it'll be free of charge. There will not be a fee for any of these classes for these folks, and it is offered here. It will be during the summer. We'll have more details coming up as we get closer to those dates and the location. But I think it'll be a fantastic opportunity for anyone to take advantage of. Please do. We're here to help you. And we're not here to influence you on anything. This is a legitimate taught class by a certified teacher.
One of the things that I'd like to see happen, based on some experiences I've had at the Senior Center, which of course is just ramping back up after 2.5 years of relative inactivity because of the dreaded virus, and they're still staying away because they're afraid, and I totally understand that. But one of the experiences that I recall at the Senior Center is that they had people who were Spanish speakers, they had people who were Albanians, people who were Chinese, and so on and so forth. And I think if that program can be exposed to the Senior Center, they can be a good resource for having people involved who can translate. Because a lot of folks who are trying to become citizens aren't necessarily comfortable with English as their primary language.
Well, that's the whole point of trying to help them, because if we have some other, if there are languages that they need assistance with, I'm sure we can help them with interpretive services that donate their time. It can be done online, and we could utilize those services to help them. So if there is a question, many of us speak different languages. We're all, we're a conglomerate.
Speak English.
Some of us do speak English. Not so well, but we try. But it's trial and error. This is our first opportunity to do it. I think it's going to be successful, and we'll be continuing it as we go along, and we'll get, I think we'll get good results out of it. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm not seeing that, the adult life used to do it. I don't know if they still do or not.
I don't know that.
And in the evenings, but I think we're going to be one of the few organizations in the city that's going to be offering that. And as I said, free of charge. So.
Well, between that and between the job fair, those are two very, very significant packages that I'm going to use the word, they're non-secular, they're non-political. No. There's no hidden agenda that, oh, by the way, folks, make sure that you register as a whatever. It's not relevant.
No, we're not soliciting anyone at all. So please, we'll notify everyone on those dates, and please come and join us. You know, come to the job fair. If you need a job, we can help you. Look around, see what's going on. You might get lucky. You might find the job that you've been looking for.
There's jobs out there.
There are.
You're just gonna,
Sure.
you're gonna be the yenta. You're gonna pull people together and make it work. The other thing that you pretty much opened the show with, in terms of various activities personally, you've been out there collecting signatures, okay?
I have.
For various candidates. Who's hot right now? What particular races require?
Well, I want to say the governor's race, congressional race is hot right now. And a few other, we have a couple state senate. We have one of our folks that's running for state senate as well. We're looking, we've done a lot of work with Jeff, for the Jeff Deal campaign, collecting signatures.
And he's running for the governorship, yeah.
Leah Allen, who is running for lieutenant governor on his ticket. And we've been working for Jeffrey Sosa Paquette, who's running for District 2.
Against McGovern.
Against Jim McGovern. So we've collected signatures, and thankfully, they're making the ballots. They just turned in their signatures, I believe it was yesterday, at the Secretary of State's office, and they've been certified, so they're officially on the ballot. And we're looking forward to a nice campaign season, and we'll do the best we can to try to get them elected. They're good people. I've had the occasion of meeting with them many times, and I wouldn't be involved, I don't think, not because it's just we're in the same party, but they're good people. They really are, and they care about the state, and they want to see everyone in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts do well, and they want to do right by us. And I honestly believe that they will. So, the best we can do.
Paul Flulin, how's that working out?
I heard he got his signatures.
He did.
And
Share with the people, Paul Flulin, what's going on there.
Paul Flulin was going to run for state senate in his district, which is held by Mr. LaBeouf. Mr. LaBeouf had an incident over the weekend, which wasn't very in good taste, so to speak. He was known to, it was in the paper, he was known that he was driving under the influence, and he was at the four times the legal limit.
He blew a 3.3, which is over 4 times what the legal limit is.
So they felt that that might hurt his campaign. Paul Flulin ran for that office before, and he decided at the last moment that he would run again. And this was last Wednesday when he announced it. He had 72 hours to get signatures to get on the ballot. He got them. He got them right on the nose. And God bless him. I'll tell you, all those volunteers that helped him, I want to say thank you, because you guys did an incredible job. You didn't have that much time to do it. Yeah. And he's certified, I believe. So he'll be on the ticket for the primary for state rep in his area. Nice gentleman.
He's also, by the way, a full-time Worcester firefighter, and also a full-time dad with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, 7 little Flulins that he's got to deal with on top of it all. So he's got a lot going on as an individual. Great guy, very articulate, strong guy, and somebody who's run before. And as we know, run as a Republican, it's uphill battle. You don't have the backing, you don't have the money, and frankly, as we all know, that if you're running against an incumbent, the chances of succeeding are minimal. They're very, very tough. So it's an uphill battle all the way. And but it can happen, and it can work. And in his case, he'd be a heck of a step up from the incumbent.
Nice.
Despite LaBeouf's obviously major issues. And I think he's been arrested.
He was arrested.
Yeah.
He was arrested. I'm sure he'll have his day in court, you know.
As well he should, but so should we. Prosecuting somebody who is that insane to be driving at that level, 4 times the limit. That's blind. It's crazy. Speaks of very, very poor judgment, period, any way you cut it. I'm not happy to hear it, even though he's obviously on the side of the ledger that I'm not supporting. But as a human being, I don't like to see anything like that happen to anyone. That's for doggone sure. Any other particular races that you have a key interest in at this point?
Well, there's James Amarello. He's running for state senate also. A young man, 25 years old. I don't know if I had the opportunity to meet him, but
Yes, I have.
he is got a good head on his shoulder for such a young man. I see a good future for him and for his district. Of course, we still have to go out and do the work. So we have Jeff Deal that we're going to support. We've endorsed him. He's listed it on his on his endorsements that he put out today, as a matter of fact. So we're working with Jeffrey Sosa Paquette. I hope. I've been working myself very hard to get him in, his signatures in and going back to that, and I'm happy to see that he will be on the ballot. It's going to be a very, very tough race for him. I think he's got a shot. It's not going to be easy, but I think he's got a good shot because he'll give Jim McGovern a good run for his money. He will. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's a very articulate and intelligent man. And I think he would do great in Washington. He really would. He knows what he's talking about. He's done his homework, and he's not afraid to give his opinion. And he listens. They all do. You know, Jeff Deal, I've known Jeff since I met him on his campaign back in 2018 when he ran for U.S. Senate against Elizabeth Warren. And I've got to know him a little bit over the years. Not, you know, I'm not pals with him, but so to speak. But I listen to people, and I develop my opinion of what type of person that is. And I see a great man.
I couldn't disagree with you. I've had the same experience. And speaking of experience, we're experiencing our theme music, which means we've got about 10 seconds to go before the band wipes us right off the planet here. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sure you've enjoyed seeing Ted, who we plan to have on again and again. He's got a lot to contribute. And thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for
Sincerely
having me.
appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine. Good night. See you again next week.